Hi everyone, Susie here from Minnesota, and I garden in a zone 4B, and I had to split my winter sowing video up into two parts, and this is part 2 of the winter sowing. So hopefully you enjoyed the first one and you also enjoy this one. Stay tuned to the end. I had cut it a little bit short, but I also show you where I'm going to put my winter sown containers. Okay, so pretty much the same way for this one. The only thing is again, I went with some bigger containers. They're about this size, and that's pretty big. I don't think that's needed for anything like the other ones I did, the poppies. I think that's just a lot of soil room in there. The only thing is for sweet peas, this is the way that I'm gonna grow, because sweet peas get a huge root system and like to have a deeper container. So I could only fit 9 in here, and that's fine, because I was still debating if I wanted to do sweet peas. So I figure if I get the 9 to come up, that'll be good and just give me a little bit to play with. One thing about the sweet peas, these are not edible, these are ornamental, they have a beautiful scent, but you have to constantly deadhead these in order to get more blooms. And that's the whole reason for growing sweet peas, is to pick them and enjoy their scent. But if you don't deadhead them and just leave them outside to enjoy them outside, they will go to seed. So that's the one thing that I'm like, do I want to do that? But I'm going with Beaujolais. I did this last year, and this one I found tolerated the heat and still performed beautifully throughout the entire season. And sweet peas do not like dry, hot climates or summers. They like moist, a little bit cooler. But last year, for some reason, this was fine. I had probably 2 inches of rain throughout the whole entire growing season, which is weird for Minnesota, but we were also mainly in the 90s for the most part. So there was a lot, so I was very impressed with this one. I don't have a lot of seeds left. Normally with these, I would probably do 3 in a container, but, and these are older. They are from last year. Just want to make sure I have all of them. So this is it. So I'm just going to put 2 in a container. First, I'm going to start with 1. I'm just going to lay it and then see what I have left. And 2 of these containers are a little bit smaller than the other ones, and I'm not going to label it because I know just one kind of sweet pea is going to be in here. All right, so I have 2 left. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put them, and then I'm just going to push them into the soil, probably about a good 1/2 inch or more. They're a pretty big seed. All right, then cover it up. I'm just going to firm it down, not hard, just so you're making sure there's no air pockets. And there's that. I am not even going to worry about covering that with vermiculite. I'm going to go ahead and water these in, and then I'm going to show you the last way that I'm winter sowing, which is the traditional way of doing it. Okay, so the last way that I'm going to be winter sowing is the traditional way. So I did this last year in the milk jugs and worked out great. I just find this is an easier plastic to poke holes and to cut versus some other ones. So you can use whatever you want. I think the clearer the plastic, the better, but I had good results this way. So again, I'm just taking this, I'm just going to poke holes in the bottom. And then I'm also going to poke just some holes in the side. I'm just going to kind of go up, I guess, if I'm in view, about right there. That will also allow for drainage too, if I have to water. All right. And then I'm just going to go ahead and poke some in the top. go with 2. All right, and then this next bit, what I like to do is where the handle is here, I like to leave that as kind of like a hinge. So I'll start cutting here. Be careful. I use a box cutter. You can use a scissor if you want to. I just find this is a little bit easier for me. I just have an old one. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sorry, it is a little loud. So you don't want to cut all the way through. You do want a bit of a hinge. So be careful. I'm surprised that didn't cut all the way. All right, and at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill it with I always pre-moisten my potting mix. None of it has fertilizer. It's just when you're starting your seeds, you don't need fertilizer in it. Yeah, they're going to be growing in here a bit, but I don't think I'm going to have much germination before the end of April, to tell the truth, depending on our temps. I'll go just a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm at that. Just kind of pack it down a little bit. Like I said, you're not just smushing it down, but this is just to make sure that there's no air pockets. All right, at this point, I could probably put a little more soil in there, but I don't think it's needed. None of these, when I sowed them last year, got much of a root system, so I just think this will be fine. I have gone ahead and labeled it number 4, which is Cleome. These are just seeds I saved, I think, 2 years ago, and it's Rose Queen. And then, I love Cleome. And I mean, look how many seeds are in there, if you can see that. Does not take much. Oh, that's way too many. And I know Cleome self-seeds, so I'm sure I'm gonna have some from last year that'll self-seed. But the thing is just in case if they don't, I have backup. These are bigger seeds, so they're a little easier to work with. I think that's good. I think I have about a dozen in there. Just gonna put this back. All right, I think for this, I'm just gonna go my traditional way with the vermiculite. This is how I do 95% of my seed sowing with vermiculite. I just like using it. Had great results. And there is no rhyme or reason why I do vermiculite for some and others. It's just kind of the way I'm feeling. All right, I'm just gonna do that. Good contact with the soil. And go ahead, give them a good water. This is always the tricky part for me, is I use duct tape. There are other things you can use. I think people use some twist ties or anything that you can just put a hole in. But I think no matter what, it's just gonna be fiddly with what you do. So I just kind of do the duct tape in pieces. does hold. I did not have a problem last year with the duct tape falling off during my season. I'm sorry about my dogs. I have a beagle and a doodle, and those two are very vocal when they play. But yeah, the duct tape did not give away. I just found that if I didn't have to water at all. I kind of just put them outside last year in March. I left them. I didn't check on them. I think I checked on germination in May, and the moisture was just fine. I know I had some algae growth, but I never have issues with the algae being an issue with my seed starting. Maybe others have, but I don't. But yeah, I haven't had to water. If I have to water these for any reason, honestly, I think what I would do is I would just take this, fill a basin, and just put it in the basin and let it absorb the water that way instead of watering through the spout. Just because if you water here, you're going to make a great big hole, first off, in your container here, but you're also going to disperse your seeds. So to me, just take it, put it in a basin water, let it sit for about 15-30 minutes, not longer than that, and then just take it out and it should be good to go. And that's what I'm going to do, at least for the jugs this way. So I'm doing Cleome this way. And I'm not going to show you this because I've already showed you that example, but I have one more here. I'm debating if I want to do some other varieties. I know a viewer said she did Cosmos this way, so I'm still debating if I want to do that. I do have an old packet of seeds, which I think would be kind of fun, but it's verbena. So if you have a problem getting verbena to germinate, this is the best way I could get it to germinate. I had fantastic results, and I'm thinking it's just because it was kind of messing with the seed with that cold, warm kind of back and forth, and eventually I had really good luck. Otherwise, if I start it indoors like my other seeds, I don't get germination that way. And I've also tried putting it into the fridge for a chill cycle, cold stratification, and I think I had 1 or 2 come up. So I will always sow verbena this way. On that note, I could be jinxing myself and I may not have germination at all. But I love, love, love this flower. I will never be without this in my garden. Like the pictures, butterflies absolutely love this. And it's a nice see-through plant too, and it just pairs well with everything. So that will be the last. I say last, but I'm not sure. I'm still debating about some other ones. So yeah, so again, a lot of these varieties I decided to do because either I have a hard time getting them to germinate, or they need the cold, or they don't like their roots disturbed, or they don't transplant well, and a lot of times direct sowing. And so this will be kind of fun because a lot of these I have not grown. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and bye for now. Okay, so this is where I put my winter sowing, and it's far enough away from the drip line here. And this is the east side of my house. It gets probably about 5 hours of sun. It would be optimal to put it on the south side. Right now, I don't know where anything is in my flower beds. I don't want to be walking on anything. Plus, I don't want these setting on top of perennials either. That would not be good. The milk jugs over here, I do not have the covers on. They will stay off. I'm not even going to worry about covering them if they germinate and we have a cold spell. I didn't do that last year and it was perfectly fine, but that's just me. So definitely do what works for you. I think this probably gets about 5 hours. It might be pushing it. I would like to strive for 8 hours at least with the winter sowing to have the best results. So as I go over here, I'm hoping once some of this snow melts that I'll be able to put them over here. I have some raised beds over there that I think I'm just going to put them against, and that gets the most sun. So I think that will be the best spot for it. But until I can walk through and know where I'm walking, it'll have to wait. So hopefully you enjoyed part 2 of the winter sowing, and bye for now.